Mixed Media Gaming.
All right, welcome to the gaming section of Mixed Media Podcast. If you are on the recorded version or you just joined just now, we just had the Arguing with Reddit segment for music, and we discussed a lot revolved around Russian people. Although none of the questions, well, actually, one of the questions did specifically refer to a Russian person. But at the start we talked about first segment was Irving's topic on the metaverse and what we may see, what the motivations are, stuff like that. And right now I'll be trying to, as quickly as possible, review a game called While True Learn. As you'll be able to guess from the title, While True Learn is a programming-focused game. If you don't know, that's the programming-ish syntax thing. Let's get into it. So, While True Learn is a game that I managed to pick up for free, even though it's normally a $13 game. It was on. I think I got it at some point from the Epic Games free stuff. And I saw it. I was like, okay, I guess I'll try to play that. I originally wanted to review Shadow of the Tomb Raider. I didn't have time, so this is what I decided to do. So let's get into it. It's developed by a developer named Luden.io, published by Nival. I don't know a single thing about them. Never heard of them before, but this game has done pretty well on Steam. It has some 5,000-ish reviews, so quite a bit of sales is what that means, especially for a game of this size.
Well, 909 Crime suggests that you review Xenogears, which I have no idea what that is. But
all right, I'll put it on the list, sure.
Yeah.
I'm actually just going to type it. All right, cool. I'll remember now. All right, so basically the premise of the game is that you play as some programmer who got stuck on a coding problem, and he leaves the room in his frustration, and he comes back to find the coding problem has magically solved himself. And it turns out that your cat had solved the problem by being good at programming, apparently. And you decide, I really would like to know what this cat is saying, but all I can do is meow. And so you go on a journey to create a cat language translator via code. Okay, so that is the general story premise. What you actually do in the game, it's actually an educational programming game. I didn't expect that. I didn't know anything about the game going into it. I just thought, it looks like a neat little puzzle-y game. Going into it, it's actually an educational programming game. You do visual scripting, which is essentially just like programming that is like if you ever used Scratch before, that's like a form of visual scripting. It's like programming. It's very beginner friendly, I'll say, I guess. And this game definitely takes it to it abstracts things even more to make it even more beginner friendly than like something like Scratch, for example. So you create sort of systems of logic to solve simple tasks, and tasks sort of ramp up in difficulty as you go on. You are graded on two things. You're graded on speed and accuracy. So generally the way this works is that since your end goal is sort of to create this cat language translator via AI. All the tasks manifest themselves as like you're creating some AI to sort things usually. So maybe you just sort like a bunch of data and pull out all the bad data and just output all the good data, stuff like that. Data will represent itself in various forms, including color and shape, for example. So it's not like actual numbers or words and stuff like that. It's just shapes and stuff like that are nice and visually friendly, right? It's a lot better to look at that and look at words flying across the screen as you look through the as nice visuals for showing how the data is transferred in the visual scripting pipeline. So good there, I guess. So it's sort of the educational part comes in when it essentially teaches you different new programming things as you go on. So I actually learn stuff about AI specifically, which is kind of cool. As you go on, it gives you sort of different logic blocks you can use, and it explains, okay, this represents this system that exists in real life. And what's cool is it gives you a little short blurb of what it is, and it'll have a left panel, and it'll say this is how it works in the game, right? It explains how this sort of logic unit works, how you can use this sort of tool to accomplish your goals. On the right side, it shows you how it works in the real world, right? So it'll be we simplified it a lot for the game purpose, but in real life, this is how it all works. This is how you use this in real life. And at the bottom, it'll give you a link to articles and videos on the topic, which is really cool. I think one time it linked to a Coursera. I think it was Coursera. It was some actual course you can go and
that's
learn about.
That's very interesting.
Sure. It was, I thought what was really cool about it is, well, as someone who knows how to program, you still found it engaging because it's like a niche topic. AI is not like, I don't mean niches in small, but niches in like not broad, I should say, I guess. But a niche topic I don't know much about really, especially specifically on like the implementation level. I know the broader ideas, right? So that's super cool learning about that kind of stuff, and it's still beginner friendly to the point where you don't need to know like the fundamentals. I know coding, yeah, it probably helped a little bit, but really not that much at all. I wouldn't, I probably was able to recognize, oh, this first node thing is an if statement, and I've used if statements before, the most fundamental building block of high level languages, right? Whereas someone who has never programmed before might be like, what's an if statement? It really doesn't take that long to learn those. So you can still get into it even if you have no experience at all. So yeah, it's really cool that it was actually an educational game that I found to be pretty effective, despite knowing a good bit about the game. The UI was very clean and clear. They did a good job at showing how data is transferred through these sort of different logical areas and stuff like that. They'll do some, game's not perfect. For example, there is one sort of logic unit you can use that essentially is represents a neural network. So essentially, it represents some AI that I believe sorts shapes. So you get shapes in as data, and you can say, okay, certain shapes go to these areas, other shapes go to these other areas, right? Now, in real life, what happens is you train the AI with a sample data set. You give it the answers, and the AI learns in certain forms of AI at least, right? So the game attempts to mimic this by having a sort of training thing you can do. Essentially, all I do is you click the training button, and you just watch the AI get better at it, right? Its error rate will decrease. I mean, this is cool in a illustrative sense. It's like, oh, cool, we can see how AI training works, right? It gets better over time, but at some point it gets kind of boring just waiting for AI to train itself. I wish there was just a button to skip the whole because the thing is the AI has a maximum amount it can be trained to. So at least in the beginning AI, it can get to a point of I think a 20% error rate. It's wrong 20% of the time. So there's a lot of that. I wish there was a button to just skip it, instantly train. That'd be very nice. But alas, that was not a thing. And because there's that AI training of the 20% failure rate, there's some randomness to your results sometimes, right? So sometimes your AI will perform a little bit better on certain runs than other times because of that, depending on which things it got wrong, which things it got right. It could take a bit longer, or the accuracy can decrease. And as I said before, you're scored on accuracy and speed. Sometimes you'll come up with a solution that's borderline. It just works, right? It just works well enough. And you fail the first time by 0.1 second. You just do it again and you just get it right. I think that's kind of I understand that's a very hard thing to fix in terms of game level design. But obviously I'm not gonna not criticize it just because it's hard to fix. So that is something I like to see fixed, because I feel like sometimes too it's this is actually the fastest solution. The fastest solution just can fail though, which is odd. You just have to do it again. Music was I started playing muted. That was an accident. I didn't realize it was muted until I was like, this game is kind of silent. And then I was like, oh no, I just had the game muted. So I didn't get a large sample size of music because I realized a bit late. But I did actually go and look up the soundtrack later, or rather, I just looked up gameplay footage of it and listened to what was going on. And a small critique, but it didn't really sound like programmer music. I have a very very defined view of what programmer music is. I know obviously a lot of people listen to many different types of things, from pop to rock to rap, whatever, while they're programming. It doesn't really matter. I'm mostly joking. But when I think of generic programmer music, I think of lo-fi, but not in the literal sense of lo-fi, where just low fidelity. I mean what people call lo-fi these days, which is oftentimes not lo-fi, but whatever. I think of that stuff, or very calm, relaxing coffee shop music that is royalty free. That's what I think of when I think of programming music, essentially. And I'm mostly joking there, but the music sounded more like upbeat, sort of fuller Minecraft music. Certain Minecraft songs, though, I can think of specifically, because I think it's the instrumentation that I think of. I'm like, oh yeah, I recognize those instruments from some Minecraft song or something like that. It's you take that song, you make it a bit faster, you make it more full, because Minecraft songs can be very sparse. It's a note every 3 years essentially. So if you just make it more full, then you get the soundtrack. It's also there's not a large variety of songs for sure. It's very repetitious, but it's not in your face. So it's very backgroundy, so you might not actually notice that it's repeating so often, which is nice. It's not very intense. And yeah, I know. Sadly, I didn't get to play much of into the game. I was too busy watching Shoplifters twice. So yeah, as you know, the game seemingly gets a lot more advanced from the trailers. I saw in the trailer like building a self-driving car AI. I don't really know how you get there, but you're not at the cat language thing yet. So, but apparently that comes first, or we got some like post-end game stuff. And yeah, I've really only scratched the surface of the game. So unfortunately, I cannot give it a crazy long review. That's perfect because we were almost out of time. My deadline was 12, and it's now 11:57. I'm done. There.
Perfect. Just in time. Sounds like a cool game, though. Very different from the other stuff that you've reviewed, for sure. I don't think you've done an educational game at all yet.
No, I don't. I usually think I found those synonymous with bad games, but I think that's just poor treatment from games they give you in school and stuff that aren't all too fun.
Yeah, which gives me a few minutes to plug a few things real quick. Let's see, where else are we on? All podcasting platforms, pretty much. Yeah, so if you want to subscribe equals smashed, awesome. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Yeah, just subscribe wherever you are, follow us wherever you are, wherever you would like to be. I highly recommend you follow us on your favorite podcasting platform. That way you can listen in the car, without using up your data or anything like that. And everything gets edited in post nice and clean, shorter versions of everything. And if you like to support us, there's a locals link in the description. I think it's $5 a month now. And we have one awesome guy who's been backing us, who is allowing us to live stream on Rumble right now, which makes me happy. But if you want to join him, you get access to the live whiteboard that you were just seeing me draw on a moment ago. And you can doodle to your heart's content within the bounds of reason, of course, which is a large boundary, but there is a boundary. So as long as you are responsible with the whiteboard, you can have as much fun on the whiteboard as you want, as well as a whole bunch of perks that you'll find in when you go to the locals page, and the pinned post has all of the other benefits on there if you are so interested. So with that, I gotta say goodnight to you guys because it's pretty late.
Yeah, thanks for watching and listening.
Thanks for sticking around.
All right, bye guys.